Hey, last Sunday we began a series as we wrap up the book of Ephesians on spiritual warfare. We talked about the battle that we are in and that it's a real battle that we are fighting. And Paul wrote to us, and we believe that we are not fighting against flesh and blood, but against all these evil spirits, authorities, mighty powers in the dark world. Therefore, he says, put on the full armor of God. We believe we need to do that. So over the coming weeks, we're going to talk about that more specifically and what it looks like in our life. Now, one of the things that I wanted us to realize, and I want to kind of focus on just for a minute, is that people aren't the enemy, the devil is. Again, we're in a real spiritual battle. Now, when we look at people, when we engage with people, we don't want to minimize the work of the enemy, but we also don't want to demonize or destroy people. So we need to look at what is behind them. When I go out this week, as things possibly begin to open up, tensions are high. People are tired of this. There's a lot of brokenness and hurt. There's a lot that's been going on. And when we engage with people out there, tensions are going to come out. Stress is going to happen in our midst. There are going to be confrontations. And so one of the things that I need to do is, knowing that we are in a spiritual battle, look at what is behind the person, not the person themselves. I believe there's an enemy and he's at work, poking and prodding to get us off of the purposes of God and not live the life that Jesus promised for us, this abundant, full life that he speaks of. Now, Jesus showed us throughout the Gospels that anytime he engaged with people and he had to confront this spiritual battle, and he taught us how to do it, that he would look at what was behind them. One of those times when he does it is with Peter. We brought it up on Sunday. He is walking along with Peter and the disciples, and he asks, who do people say that I am? And then with Peter, he takes it a little deeper, and he says, who do you say that I am? What a great question. And Peter says, you are Jesus, the Christ, the Messiah, the rescuer, the Son of the living God. You've come to save us and rescue us. And Jesus says, great answer. That is foundational. You are the rock. I'm going to build the church on that. And then he adds, Peter, they're going to kill me because of that. I'm going to die. And Peter would respond and say, that's not going to happen. No way. I'm not going to let that happen. And Jesus then would say in response to that, get away from me, Satan. You are a dangerous trap to me. You are seeing things merely from a human point of view, not from God's. Hey, Jesus was not calling Peter Satan. He saw the work, the spiritual battle behind him and what was pushing Peter, confusing Peter. Jesus always is confronting the enemy behind the person in front of him. He does that even in us, when he confronts things in our life because he wants us to be healed and helped. He looks past the superficial to the heart so that we can be free from sin. And we can learn how and engage the enemy, resist him. And so Jesus is always looking at what's behind. Now, when I do that, here's one of the things that it does. It changes the way I engage with people. It makes a difference. It helps me then, when I recognize the enemy behind the person, to show love and grace to that individual, not demonize or destroy. I recognize the work of the enemy, and it changes the way that I pray for them. For now, I'm praying to and for what's behind them and against what's behind them, but for them. Wow. What if we did that? Especially as we begin to open up, this is going to matter more. Where the enemy wants to make us divided, we want to pull people together and unify them. Jesus wants to do that. So what if, like Jesus, we looked at what was at work behind the person so that we could love, show grace and compassion, and even pray differently for them? It's hard. I realize that. It's going to be hard for me, but it matters. Hey, we love you. Let's continue as you are doing so well to make a difference and see God work and continue to work in miraculous ways. And we cannot wait to connect again in person So again, we love you. You matter. Let's make a difference.